Do you have a picky, fussy eater in your midst? Well, keep watching because I'm going to be sharing lots of tips for how you can keep your picky eater nourished and meal times a positive experience. Hi, it's Jolene from Yummy Inspirations, and if you're new to my channel, just letting you know I share easy meal ideas and travel vlogs and all kinds of things that I get up to with my family. So if you'd like to hit the subscribe button now to be notified when new videos come out, that would be great. But in the meantime, on to today's video. Now, Curtis Stone has ruffled a couple of feathers by sharing his opinions on letting fussy eaters go hungry at meal times if they don't want to eat what's on offer. And this issue is very close to my heart, so I felt the urge to share a video and share my thoughts with you, and along with some tips and tricks for how you can feed a fussy eater without resorting to starving them. Now, this issue is the very reason that I started my blog 5 years ago. My now 7-year-old was a little 2-year-old toddler who was incredibly fussy and picky, and I could have just given in to him and let him eat what he wanted. I could have let him starve, but instead I worked with him to try and find foods that he loved that I could offer him as the bulk of his food, at the bulk of his meals, and then offer lots of other foods to keep him nourished and broaden his eating horizons. It has been a long journey. He is now a 7-year-old healthy eater. We have very positive meal times, and that has been my goal overall, to keep meal times positive and keep them nourished with as wide a variety of foods as possible. That includes dreaded vegetables and meats and dairy and just everything. So how have I done it? What have I done? And what can you do? Well, first off, when he was a really picky toddler, I found this book to be very helpful, Deceptively Delicious by Jessica Seinfeld. She suggests hiding pureed food into their meals, pureed vegetables mainly, into their meals to get them to eat vegetables. I found that to be a very effective way to get him to eat a wider variety of vegetables while still offering him his favourites. He's always loved cucumber and carrots, as most kids do, and will gladly munch on a whole carrot without really thinking about it. So he's always had those vegetables, and then it's been a matter of maybe hiding some cauliflower puree in scrambled eggs, or hiding some sweet potato in muffins or French toast. That's additional to the foods that he already loves. So that's for vegetables what I did. Meat has always been a huge issue. Trying to get him to eat meat, if you can relate, let me know. Getting him to eat meat has always been a huge issue. He's just not been a meat or chicken eater. It's taken a lot of time. I even at one stage hid mince into French toast. So I mashed the mince up along with the French toast batter and fried that for him. That was a way to get him to eat meat. Making little, I used to make these chicken croquettes from the book Apples for Jam. I'll leave a link to this book and Apples for Jam, which I love, below. It's just finding recipes that he loved that I could cook over and over and over and over again, while also introducing him to new foods and finding new foods that he loved. For the longest time, his favourite foods were smoked salmon, avocado, French toast. Now, that doesn't sound like a very wide variety of foods, but those are pretty nutritious foods when it comes to proteins and omega-3s and good fats and just, you know, protein and everything. I've said protein. That's what I would feed him as the bulk of his foods. He would have so much French toast, scrambled eggs, all that sort of thing. And then I just kept introducing new foods for him, trying to keep it as positive as I could. So I believe what it really comes down to is respect. It's not really about pandering to your children. It's about respecting their tastes, respecting their likes and their dislikes. I've discovered that with both of my children, who are now 5 and 7 years old, their tastes are completely different. My 5-year-old can eat a grown-up under the table when it comes to eating meat. We will serve him his meat. He will inhale it. Whereas his older brother, it will take him about 45 minutes to eat a matchbox size of meat. Whereas you give him carbs, well, that's most children, you give him carbs or even a lot of vegetables, he will just devour them, where his brother is a little fussier. So it's about making sure that both of them are balanced, both of them are nourished, they can eat the foods that they love, but that they're also trying and consuming foods that they're less fond of. It's a balancing act, and it's not a matter of starving them, it's not a matter of giving in to them, it's just a matter of finding a way to have positive meal times. That is always my goal, finding a way to have positive meals that they enjoy, that we can enjoy together, and that they're getting a balanced variety of food, that they're not just living on sugar and carbs, that they're not just having meat all the time, although my 5-year-old would love that. Another resource which helped me along my way was this book, well thumbed, well bookmarked, French Kids Eat Everything by Karen Lebillan. I will leave a link to this down below as well. This book was a lifesaver. When we got stuck in that trap of giving them snacks whenever they were hungry, and then when it came to meal times and they were full of snacks, this book helped me out there. It helped me just form my opinions on food and on finding ways to a positive meal time for all. So if you haven't read this book already, I suggest you getting your hands on a copy of it, either from your local library, or I will leave the Amazon link down below. This book also it really helped me with progressing our way through to positive meal times. So what are my top tips to keep them nourished? Well, if vegetables is what you want to get more of into them, then find ways to get more vegetables into them. Whether it's when they say they are hungry through the day, throw a carrot at them. Not literally though. Mine love whole carrots. If they prefer sliced carrots, carrots cut into little circles. Make a platter of veggies cut up, a whole rainbow of vegetables cut up. While you're preparing dinner, if the I'm hungry start, just give them a platter of vegetables. Let them start with vegetables, and then when mealtime comes, score! They've already had their vegetable portion. If meat is what you struggle with, well then who says you can't have meat for breakfast? Make a beautiful steak and offer it to them for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Through the whole course of the day, they might eat the whole steak. That's what I do sometimes with my oldest with burgers. Sometimes he'll eat a whole burger, sometimes not so much. So at dinner, if he's only had half the burger, he gets the other half for breakfast the next day. He's not only just had the burger though, he's probably had vegetables and maybe some potatoes on the side. So he's had a full dinner, but he didn't finish his meat. He gets it for breakfast the next day. Or on days that we're home, I will make burgers for lunch, and he might have half the burger for lunch and half the burger for dinner. But then he's, over the course of the day, eaten a whole burger. I think that rather thinking of, okay, breakfast foods, lunch foods, dinner foods, if you've got a fussy, picky eater in your midst, just throw that thinking out the window and find ways to get them to eat what you want them to eat. That is kind of what I do, that we are very unconventional in the way that we eat our meals, but I feel comfortable that they are eating and it's their positive experience, and that is what I want. And also when I make up their dinner plates for them, I wouldn't give them a whole plate of just something they have never seen before. I may make a small portion of the plate something they haven't seen before, and then the rest of the plate are familiar foods, foods that I know they'll eat. That way there's no way that they will starve through dinner time, and there's no way that if they say that they don't want to eat their little thing on their plate they're not used to, I usually just say, fine, don't eat it, eat the rest of what's on your plate, and we just deal with it when we get to it. And I do encourage them to just have a try, and we chat about what the food is and what it does for them and gives them muscles like daddy, or help them to run faster, or help them to think clearer. We just talk about the food and what the benefit is of eating it. And finally, a really effective way to get the kids to eat new foods is to get them involved in the shopping and the cooking and the meal planning process, obviously depending on their age. But getting them at the supermarket to pick new fruit or vegetables to try, to get them in the kitchen next to you cooking and preparing the meals, they may want to have a little taste along the way. I find that is incredibly effective to get them really involved in the food that they're eating, and they're more likely to try it because they've helped to make it, they've helped to shop for it, and that is another really fun way of getting them to try new foods and getting them over the picky, fussy eating phase. So there you go. Those are my top tips for keeping picky, fussy eaters nourished and keeping a positive meal time and a positive experience on family meal times. I would now love to hear from you. What are your tips? How have you nourished your fussy eater? What do you do to keep meal times a little less stressful and a little more positive? I really would love to hear from you, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I have lots more easy family meal idea recipes coming up soon. Thanks, bye.